Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of 51 Stories of Emotional Wellbeing with Emotional Ability Resources. Today, I have with me Sonal Nyati, a vibrant homemaker who's a movement enthusiast. She's been in Seattle for the last couple of decades, and I want you to hear her story and see how movement is something that gives shape to everything that she does in life. So, welcome to the show, Sonal.
Thank you, Pragati. Thank you for having me here. It's a delight. I am, I am in. I have tremendous respect and awe for you for following your heart and doing what you do.
Thank you so much, Sonal. So, tell us a little bit about yourself, the child Sonal who was growing up, and how did she look after her well being?
Okay. So, as a really little girl, I have recollections, flashbacks of growing up with spending a lot of time with my grandparents sometimes. Um, my mom, my dad, we lived in a very small town in Rajasthan called Bhilwara. And everything was just like, how a home is. And then, unfortunately, my mom, she passed away when I was 5.5, I suppose, or 5. And soon after, I was enrolled in the residential program at the M.G.D Girls Public School in Jaipur, and that's how we know each other. That's our link. So, being a family from a small town in Rajasthan, it's tough. Just the culture is where my father, the role, he couldn't play that role as a primary parent. And so this made complete sense for him. He was pretty heartbroken. And I didn't know, I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know anything. Actually, you don't know as a child, you just adapt.
Mhm.
And then came M.G.D. I'd say that was tough. But I guess internally, I can only understand it now when I reflect. I think there was a certain resilience. There was a certain uh, sense of, this is it. Where when you don't have choices. It's either this or that, and I really wasn't given a choice. So I went with what the expectations were. But I think every evening I looked out of the windows in the hostel just to see what if my dad would just come and get me. Daddy would just drive the car, or he would just come and take me. And I missed him. I missed him a lot. I missed my brother a lot. My brother and me are very close, and we had to be split. And he was sent to Mayo, which is another residential school in Rajasthan. So, and as a child, you can't process what the parent is going through because you have no clue.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to be the primary person for the parent because all children are a little egocentric, and I was no exception. I was egocentric. I wanted all the affection from my daddy, and I felt wronged initially. I felt wronged to be sent away, and I couldn't understand why. I mean, I know why now. I know why, but why?
Mm-hmm.
So I think I grew up with this trauma,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't realize because nobody realizes. It's just unconscious.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I will go to school and I study psychology and sociology and anthropology, and I read cases and I write narratives, and then it's such an opportunity to reflect.
Mm-hmm.
And so I realized that there is trauma which comes from childhood and a need to want to anchor myself. And as life would have it, I was in a residential program and I spent 11 years of my life. Initial years were tough, Pragati, but as time went on, oh my gosh, I made the best friends of my life. They were I would call them the golden years of my life. Reason being, I don't know if you've heard of this parable, which is like, I heard it on National Public Radio here while picking up my daughter after school, and there was a stallion. So there's this man in a village who it's based out of China. A man in a village who has this beautiful, handsome, sturdy stallion horse, and he feeds the horse. The horse is healthy, companion, helps him, and he's able to make good money because the horse is there to do the work he needs to do. So the people around him, his community, they're like, "Oh, you're so lucky, you're so fortunate. You have this gorgeous horse." So the man says, "Perhaps, Then one day the horse runs away.
Mm-hmm.
He flees from his place, his shed, and the community comes and says, "Oh, you're so unfortunate. How unlucky. Now, how will you do your business?" He says, "Perhaps, Then after some time, the stallion returns with 20 other horses. And the entire community comes and says, "Wow, you hit the jackpot. You're so lucky." So he says, "Perhaps." And then he has a boy, and the boy is riding one of the horses, and he falls off, and he hurts his leg, and he is lame and never able to walk again, and needs help and support. So the entire community says, "You must have done something terrible. How unlucky, unfortunate." And there comes a time when there's a war, and all the boys of all families are asked to be conscripted, enlisted in the army. But this boy, because he doesn't have the gait to be a soldier, is not enlisted and asked to stay home. So the boys that are enlisted, they never come back. And so the entire community comes and tells him again, "You are so lucky and so fortunate that you kept your son." So the idea is what you see as adversity, like how unfortunate. I had to go to a boarding school. I didn't have my mom. And it was because of an adverse situation in our lives, and my dad didn't know better, and I am so thankful to him for giving me an opportunity. But with that came this amazing experience, which I would have never had. So I really today, I love my dad for doing the best he could and giving me this experience, because out of adversity came this beautiful experience. And I made friendships for a lifetime. Like today, I can call you, I can call my peers, our classmates, and I can just be Sonal Nyati, right? So that is golden. That is treasure. I feel truly wealthy because of that. So I do accede to the fact that I do carry some trauma, but MGD gave me opportunity. So without even consciously understanding how it taught me, what it taught me, a life skills, which we are trying so hard these days to engineer it for our children. Social situations, navigating social situations, how to deal with rejection, how do you deal with anger and grief. You speak about it. You are able to be vulnerable, to cry because you feel, and it's okay to feel, and give yourself that time to feel, to sit with that emotion. The glass is always half full because tomorrow is a new day. So MGD did give me the time to sit and sulk because I had to go with it. I had to move with it. So, and I think I did well because I think I was a good student. I was a good sports girl. I loved sports. I loved dancing. So I think I took a lot from my school. And this added to me as a human being to make me stronger, added resilience, added confidence. And not realizing that, but I made really good friends for life. Like till today, I make really good friends. I have an eye when I know, and I cannot, I don't know how, but I know it's because of our experience in the residential program.
That's so well put, Sonal. I love that, Like they say, the diamond merchants have an eye for flawless diamonds. So yes, I have never heard MGD being described or any residential program being described in such interesting terms, and I just love it, I have an eye for relationships and friends, and that's such a beautiful way to really look at your years, the wonder years that most of us take for granted. And these days, especially, we see children are more concerned about grades, which college are they going to, what kind of a relationship they are having. They're growing up much before their time,
Yeah, it's so true. And then you're so right, because COVID really forced our generation as parents, our cohort, to have to embrace electronic culture. We didn't have a choice. We just were pushed into that direction, as a result of which there is so much of visuals and visual stimulation for children, and how audiovisuals are so addictive that they are unable to tear their eyes away, tear themselves away. So many other childhood experiences get ignored, and not and because we have been through these childhood ourselves, where we didn't have that distraction, and we were able to live and make relationships and give time to those building blocks which are formative in childhood. You have to have a little anxiety. You have to face stress. You have to experience rejection. You have to fail in order to find mechanisms and tools to how to emerge from that. Because these are building blocks of how you will deal with situations as an adult. So we as parents are we're just trying to engineer situations. Like I engineer situations sometimes where I was like, take this away from the environment, then she'll look for it, and then I'll have to ask her why, and then she'll have to talk to me and I have to apply critical thinking and why. And then she'll dislike me for it, but I just have to do my bit as a parent as to why. And in M.G.D, I never had to go through it because it was naturally in our situational setting.
Yeah.
So, but having said that, I think there was an emotional void, which I thought, I think, and that was the piece of trauma, I feel. The emotional void for belongingness. I belong to my friends and my M.G.D family. Yes, I felt a kinship, such a deep kinship, and I guess because I wanted it so much, and it was validated, and it was reciprocated. So that really helped, really helped. But and as you know, I think there was some insecurity when we were graduating because that chunk of life that you know it as you know it is going to go away, and now you're going to move and not see your family literally, and each one has to carve their path forward. And then I didn't recognize the other family because I became my person with my own set of value systems that I couldn't see eye to eye with the established value systems of my home in Bhilwara. Because you grow up in a setting where you apply critical thinking without knowing what critical thinking is. So why will I do this? Where does it take me? So you should study in this town because you're a girl and we don't want to send you far because there are risks, you know. But you did send me out to study, and this is the person I've become. So I grew up. We all grew up. We are all independent, very independent with our thought process. And that is what the true definition of independence is. One should not confuse independence with financial independence. That is a subcategory of independence, right? So I said, I have my own set of value systems. I see a situation and I try to see, do I want to be in that situation or do I not want to be in that situation? It's a choice. I have a choice. So I had to really rebel, really fight, be defiant. Not that I wanted to, actually. I didn't want to be defiant, but I could see myself living in that closed-minded setting with my stepmom and dad. I just wouldn't be able to thrive in that setting. And so I chose to do something I had never thought of doing, with design. Because if I wanted to pursue, I wanted to really study chemistry or economics, but my stepmom is a lecturer, or a professor, and she's like, you come to my university. I said, I can't. And then I told my dad very clearly, you have a choice. You choose your spouse or me. So I had that much of confidence to work to realize what was most important was to not compromise and add more trauma to myself as a human, as a girl, of staying in that household, and recognize it and verbalize it to my dad that you have a choice. Either it's me in the house or your spouse. And so my dad did what he thought best and sent me to Delhi to study design. I persevered, though I was really, really nervous from within as a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I had my own fears. Um, I had no idea how I would fare.
Mm-hmm.
I had never studied design. I did not do so much art besides what was expected in school. But MGD did give us the tools to work really hard. We guys didn't really realize, but we worked hard. We had a choice. You could be that girl who didn't want to work hard and sail on. But I think I was a hardworking gal, as a result of which you carried those tools with you. And today I tell my children, there is no luck, sweetheart. It's always the hard work. So, but Pragati, I would tell the girls and the boys um, in elementary school and in middle school and in high school and their parents to really help their children grow into the people they are, and help them get independent, help them think for themselves, to say, what do you think about the situation? If it was you in a character in the story, how would you approach this problem? What is your opinion about this problem? I mean, today, if, say, a 10 to a 12-year-old girl listens to this talk of between us,
Mm-hmm.
and then she could say, like, so what would I do? Would I work really hard, or would I? Because according to this lady, she says hard work really helped her get to the point where she could defy the norms, the norm mindset, and adopt the can-do mindset,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So I would really encourage the parents to help children to do the can-do mindset,
Mm-hmm.
and to feel what to let the children feel, not to protect them all the time from falling, but to always be there to put a band-aid or reassure them, and let the child verbalize. Don't verbalize for the child. Let the child, give the child the time to verbalize. Because so often in the collectivist culture of India, they speak for you.
Exactly.
And that's I don't know right or wrong, but for my opinion and my point of view and my experiences, that's not a robust way to help a child think for themselves.
Actually, this is a very pertinent point. These days we have so many debates on how media shapes our opinion, and parents feel that they know what's best for children. I see children getting in their 90s percentages, and that's not good enough. It's all about achievement, but it's never about the journey. And what I really feel is what's getting lost in all this rigmarole is a love of learning. Like you rightly said, learning how to think for yourself is the ultimate freedom and the ultimate sign of independence that any of us can enjoy, because that creates wealth and meaning wherever you are, however you go through the journey of life, whether you have your ups and downs, and which is what makes life fun. It's not a flat graph. Only a dead man has a flat graph. The rest of
That's
us,
true.
yes, we have our ups and downs, and a lot goes on in life. So tell me a little bit about you as an adult, and how do you look after your emotional well-being? Any challenges that you have faced of late or in the last few years that you feel again has helped you shape into the beautiful woman that you are today?
Oh, you're flattering me, Pragati. Thank you. I feel challenges, they are synonymous with Sonal. I feel
Okay.
like I feel I'm always being tested, but then but then that's me talking to myself. But then maybe all of us, each individual has challenges, and then they all feel the same, that I'm forever being tested. So but that's the way I felt a few years back. So I did get married. It was an arranged marriage in India. I worked in Delhi, and I made the best friends. I made new friends in Delhi. And I have to say, I found so much love from the parents of my M.G.D friends, the bigger family. And I am in such gratitude. They really did help me emotionally so much. In Delhi, there is a friend of ours, common friend Pooja. Pooja's parents, they were always had the doors open for me. They never asked me why. They embraced me. Another friend, Anupam's parents, embraced me. Ambara's parents embraced me. I was so fortunate. I felt so fortunate to find such good people, amazing people. And then you hit a few rough patches, of course, and as an adolescent, as a youth. That's a different story. But I did get married, and it was an arranged marriage. I was really excited because I felt, okay, now I will have a home. I can put down an anchor. I want to have children. I was so simple in my mindset about how I approached life. And that's that. Then I went off to Jakarta, Indonesia, with my spouse. And then I realized that we two come from such different backgrounds, because when I decided to embark on this journey with him, I knew he was an artist, because and I really did. I was very impressed by his can-do mindset, and he didn't have fear for the unknown, and that was remarkable, because I had fear for the unknown. I still have fear for the unknown. It takes me time. I need to talk myself into it, but he's just fearless with the unknown, and I was very impressed, and I thought, that's amazing. What a complementary union it will be, But a journey with matrimony is living every day. And he was brought up in a home with his parents. I was brought up in a residential school with rules and immediate consequences, and sort of a rigidity, I would say, which I realize now as a mother that I do feel I have rigidity. And I have to admit and be completely honest, because that's how I was brought up. And there was a structure and an expectation to work. I created systems because I was so used to the systems. Everything there, I was so used to having routines. I thrived on the routines. I drew strength from routines. And then there is this dude who's just unstructured, who just can work in a chaotic situation, who will work on 5 different threads. And I feel he's not even attempting to do one thread with intent. And that drove me crazy. And so how do I deal with that? And and that manifested, and it translates into various situations. So slowly, gradually, I said, Sonal, what are the things that you can control? I missed home. I missed my friends. I was extremely homesick. I wanted all my M.G.D friends, my dear new friends, to come and live with me in Jakarta because I was living in this luxurious apartment. And I was like, oh my gosh, so much to do, so much fun. And I don't have my friends to share it with. That was a misfortune, you know? And I really missed them because I was not used to living with a man for so long without my girlfriends. And as Esther Perel says, you can't ask your man to be everything for you.
Yeah.
You need your village, you need your support
Absolutely.
system, right? And so that also created a yearning, an emotional yearning of sorts, which added to my sort of a void, you know? And then, but I kept looking forward for the resilience, I guess. And I embarked on a cooking journey. I was like, I'm going to teach myself to cook. I'm going to be a really good chef because the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So I launched into this cooking journey in Jakarta, and then I got a tutor to teach me the Bahasa Indonesian language because I needed to do things in order to pull myself up, and because I didn't want to fall into the pit of despair. And I think I'm good at realizing when I'm close to it and when I need to pull myself up. And I think that I'm really grateful for. I'm really grateful that I have that because I could have really slid down. And then I started cooking and I started learning a new language. And I went to enroll myself in a computer science course somewhere. And I met some Indonesians, and through them, I experienced the Indonesian culture and homes and architecture. And I made acquaintances, and I made friends with my the domestic staff, the support. I would see her fold clothes, and she was beautiful at folding clothes. And I said, I want to learn how you do it. And I asked the person who would take my spouse to work, our driver, and because I feel so fortunate right now saying a driver because I'm the primary driver. And he would take me to different places in Jakarta. Every day we would go explore a neighborhood. I would walk for 35 to 55 minutes, and then he would walk with me, and I would ask him where is the art district, and where is the food district, and where is, so just explore on my own. So these were my coping mechanisms before I came to the United States. I don't know, am I boring you? Am I saying too much?
Oh, I think it's just so nice to hear you, You're talking from your heart, you're reminiscing, and that's what we are trying to do here. As I spoke to you, Sonal, we are conversing so that people realize we need to feel all our feelings, the good ones, the bad ones. And like you rightly pointed out, sometimes we expect the entire relationship, one relationship to cater to what an entire village caters to, as Esther Perel has pointed out, and to realize that, yes, I am at the edge of despair. Like you said, the reason why we are struggling so much with mental health that I've been seeing in my years as a therapist is because we discount our feelings. But if we really start paying attention, in our survival mechanism, it's mapped in, then we actually start thinking about, okay, what can I do in this situation? Do I like this feeling or I don't like this feeling? ABC are options available to me. I've never cooked, but I can learn how to cook. I don't speak the language. I'll learn how to speak. I hated, we've been punished for our clothes not being neat in school. So I don't know about you. So, we don't like it if we are told to be too organized. But if I'm somewhere, someone who can teach me the skill, then why not? So this is how emotional well-being is created. Why we struggle so much is because we feel that, yes, it's one fancy word in a shrink's office and I'll be absolutely fine. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. So I think it's really great that you're going in depth with all your emotions and really helping people connect that it's okay. At least connect to your emotions. You'll be fine. You don't know anything
Yeah,
and it's okay.
yeah, because I didn't realize what was coming for me.
Mhm,
I had no idea what was coming for me in my future
mhm,
because we came here to study, my spouse and me. We put all our savings and said, okay, let's embark on this adventure. Let's go study. Hey, we are just the two of us.
mhm,
Let's put in all we've got and go study in the United States.
mhm,
And then we came. And we came as students. It was really tough
mhm,
to 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 fend for ourselves because it's expensive and there is no mom and dad and there is no generational wealth. It's just my spouse and me.
mhm,
And again, an adverse situation, but I fought through it. I worked as a waitress in a Thai restaurant
mhm,
and I got cash tips because I didn't have, I couldn't I couldn't work. I didn't have a working visa. I was on a dependent visa. But they said, hey, we'll take you and you will only get cash tips. I worked for 6 hours a day in a Thai restaurant so I could make some money in order to fund the extracurricular activities for networking for my spouse for the MBA business program.
mhm,
Because because we had to work really hard.
mhm,
And I learned how to drive myself with a friend who was going to a psychology school. She was a neighbor, Allison, and she was really afraid. And I said, Allison, can you teach me how to drive? I need to learn how to drive. And and I don't know how I had the courage to just go knock on her door. And I said, and I'd met her in the laundromat. And I said, Allison, I really need to learn how to drive because we're going to get a car.
mhm,
And my spouse has no time.
mhm.
So I think the culture here is like, okay, all right, how about tomorrow at 5 p.m. I meet you at the parking lot? And that was that. And I learned how to drive myself. I would take her car with me. I think she must be really petrified, but she didn't say anything. But this is the M.G.D spirit. I have to say uh, uh, that you are fearless in asking for help when you need it. So, well, that happened. We got a job. Everything turned out fine. Um, it's wonderful. I was pregnant. I got a baby boy. I was overjoyed. I was so happy, and I decided to do the best I can. I made promises to myself as a mother that you know what, this is going to be amazing. Uh, and I guess 3 weeks went by, and my son wasn't making eye contact with me.
Mhm,
And I knew in my gut, in my heart, that I'd read up,
mhm,
they can see and they will follow your voice. But and at that time I felt I need some something's not okay. That's all I knew. But it's incredible how you go as a you become your own self-advocate. And the world around you wants to pacify you and not address it, but to just quieten you, silence you, and say, it'll be fine. He's a boy. Boys take more time. So I went to my pediatrician. I said, no, it's not fine. I don't think it's fine. I need you to talk to me about why is this happening? Why is he not making eye contact? Why is he not following my voice? Because something's not fitting. So it started like that. And I had to really, really put myself out there because my spouse was really busy and that was his escape. It's easier when you have a designated job, you know. And we made a very, very conscious choice that I would care for our child, and he would continue working. There's a balance that needed to come in our life because we didn't have family to help with our kids. And slowly, gradually, Pragati, it just the pediatrician then, you know, she directed me to the Stanford pediatric unit. Then I spoke to the child development officials there, professionals there. Slowly, gradually, I started reading more and more text, understanding what there was no language till 3 years. And then I went into the full working mode. I couldn't sit and say, I mean, I felt really, it was really hard. I felt very lonely. I felt very emotionally, very, very weak. I felt I had no one. I felt very, I just felt my strength I was getting drained. I was getting drained of my strength. But you know, realizing it, sitting in it, feeling it, I said, I made a choice to be a parent. I am a mother. Today, I can't sit and feel what I feel, but I also need to know what I can do to help my son because he's mine. And so I started going for classes in the evenings. I enrolled myself in a community college in a psychology program with child development. And I went from, my spouse would come home by 6 p.m. after work. I would hand Jay to him. My son's name is Jay. He's 20 today. And I would take the car and I would go straight to college. I attended classes for 3 years, different classes, 7 to 10. And I studied different subjects under the umbrella of child development. Then I took psychology. I took 6 subjects in psychology. Then I took some sociology and anthropology. And then I had a clear understanding of his wiring and that what is the word autism and what it means. And when I got the diagnosis, I really wanted a diagnosis. So I took him because in this country, I had to work with the system. So unless you don't have, you know, this whole notion of of the labels hurting your child, I can understand the stigma associated with it, but as a parent, you have to make the call of what is most important for your child. Will this help my child? Will this help get the services for my child? Will this, if I go and seek help, will I be given tools? Will my child be given tools to develop with the potential he or she has within him? How do I understand my child more? Who are the people I can go to? So if this will help me, I will go for it.
And very rightly, like you said, you know, labeling is bad when there's stigma attached to it. But sometimes calling a spade helps us get resources. It helps us move beyond our resistances. Look, he has autism. It's okay. Like if my child was struggling with, let's say, Bengali, I would get a Bengali teacher and help the child flourish. Like you got a teacher to learn Indonesian. If you know your child has a condition and which specifically can be labeled autism, you are in a country which has resources.
Exactly.
As a parent, sometimes it takes courage to label our children, because we feel that if we label, the world will judge them. But what I think a lot of times, it's our own lack of conviction or courage. If we
It
call
is.
a spade, we can always take steps to do the best which is possible for us. And that, I think, is where your true resilience comes from, right, Sonal?
I suppose, Pragati, I guess all of us are resilient. We all, I think, living with limited resources, the way we did in our residential program, that is such a huge learning curve for each one of us. We had limited resources. We had to make the best of what we had. And so the similar philosophy is I have to make the best of what I have. I threw myself in that role of the caregiver, the primary caregiver of my child. And I didn't look back. I just kept going, and I think I was exhausted, but I didn't have the time to sit and address my exhaustion, really. I didn't. And it was amazing because I was able to get professionals. I was able to get resources. I was able to interview with people, and I had the, what do you call it? Like when you have the ability that person is not a right fit for my child.
Uncanny knack of
a compatibility.
Yes.
To understand whether there is a compatibility with this therapist, whether this behaviorist will work best with my child. Is my
right
child
fit,
listening?
finding the right fit.
Right fit.
Child, yes.
Yeah, so that took me time to get the right fit for. I had like a slew of therapists coming home. I had a full-time job, really. There was no way I could pursue a profession because this became my vocation, actually. But what a learning. He's high functioning. And autism is a condition that there is no cure. I just want to put it out there that it is a condition, and it is the children who have high functioning autism, because it is tougher for children who are in the low functioning autism spectrum, because there are severe challenges to learn. But I'm the fortunate person here, and I have a child who has a high functioning autism, so he has the ability to learn. So I got a team of the amazing professionals. I'm in such debt and such gratitude to those people. I love them. I have tremendous respect for them. I will entertain them, feed them, keep them in my house whenever they like, whenever they want, because they have given me so much of their time. And Jay had his occupational therapy, speech and language therapy. He had ABA, he had CBT, he had you name it, and he got it, because I didn't want to leave any stone unturned. I just wanted to do all that I could do. And I took his diagnosis. I asked for help. I went to the state, my county district offices, and everything worked out, Pragati. That's what I said. Like, I had to go baby steps, and I just kept going, and the path just aligned. And it was a struggle, school here, elementary, tough, very tough. middle school, extremely tough. He failed a lot. When I say failed, I don't mean academic failure. He is, he's gifted. But when I say rejection, social rejection, um, social situations, navigating nuances, theory of mind, taking perspective of others, I had to teach him all of it through role modeling. I I I pay I hired high schoolers to come and be buddies. I hired university going students in the summer to be bicycling buddies. I hired girls to come and play board games, high school girls to come and play board games with Jay. So I just had to create systems. And he's amazing. And it's a success story, actually. And so I'm a lucky parent. And I would like to say to any parent, and today I am also on the school district board, if any parent wants to, they feel emotionally swept under, or they need advice, they want to create a system, they want to understand how to go about getting resources, I have given my number, and they can reach me, call me, and I will help them. I've worked with a couple of kids as an ABA therapist. I got trained as a therapist. I took some CBT training. I went to work with some kids in the school district here, elementary school district. I said I'll try it out for a month, but I was exhausted. But I couldn't be a mother to my little 10-year-old girl because I have two today. Mm-hmm. I decided to have a second baby once I got to know it was going to be a girl. I was a little afraid if it would be a XY. So when I got to know it's an XX, I was really overjoyed. So a 20 and a 10-year-old, and I feel I want to live my everyday because I work really, really hard. And I would tell all parents that don't keep looking at what's not there. Look at what's out there, what is in front of them, and work with the strengths. Don't keep addressing the shortcomings always. It's important. Yes, we should. I did address social situations all the time because it's imperative for children to navigate the world, to go to college, to work in corporate America, or any country for that matter. But I always emphasize on the idea that Jay, get comfortable with who you are. Mm-hmm. Autism is a condition, and it took him time to accept. He was really angry. He was very angry at autism. He directed a lot of anger at autism. But, with time and having such a supportive team that I put for him, he realized that he's so good at mathematics. Why? He has like a memory where he doesn't forget the steps and the sequence. It just stays. I said, that's because your buddy autism, If you didn't have that, you wouldn't be that cool in math. So, dude, in order to get something, gotta give something, right? So it's just how so it is a shaping. It's a shaping block for him. Mm-hmm. What he will be, he'll always have challenges. We all have challenges, but today I feel so at peace that he's at peace with autism, and he knows it's with him. Mm-hmm. And he will work whenever he needs to, get his toolbox, open it, apply what's needed, and sail through the situation. So my work as a parent primarily, I feel I can play tennis every day. I should dance every day. I go teach children Bollywood in the community. So I think I'm moving along.
Now I know why in one word before we started off, you told me, Pragati, call me a movement enthusiast. Yes, you definitely walk your talk, and you are somebody who has moved through life effortlessly, like a stream which just gurgles on. In spite of the challenges, in spite of the resistances, you've managed to carve your way and found yourself to this ocean of gratitude. So thank you so much, Sonal, for sharing your thoughts. It's really been inspiring. And I, for one, am in awe of the journey that you have walked. Thank you so much for being here and sharing your story with everybody.
Thank you, Pragati. I feel gratitude for you too. Thank you so much for listening to me. I feel this is so liberating. It's cathartic. It's amazing. I think this should be a must do for everybody, to kind of have a talk with a loved one, or just schedule a talk with a loved one once a month at least, a friend, somebody.
Absolutely. We need safe spaces to vent. And
Yes,
unfortunately, this is a gift which is given to all of us. This need to belong to others. We can connect to each other, and that's what binds us together in our shared humanity. So thank you once again, Sonal, and thank you everybody who's watching us today. Remember, when you pay attention to your feelings, you experience emotional well-being. And this is the journey of life. It's just meant to be enjoyed in spite of its ups and downs. Take care and have a lovely day.
thank you, Pragati. Ditto. Cheers.